So, namaste. I am trying to get this again. All right. Hello. Thank you for joining me. So, my name is Shira. I'm a yoga teacher, yoga therapist, and Ayurvedic wellness educator. And I am starting a series about emotions. I've just realized the other day that I'm talking a lot about burnout and I'm talking about depression, anxiety, but I haven't talked about the emotions themselves. And that's what I'm so passionate about and what is so powerful. So for me, emotions has become a study that I've researched for the last few years. It started with this book, Molecules of Emotion by Candace Pert. She wrote this in the 90s. She had discovered the receptor in the brain for opium and our feel good, our bliss, basically. So all cells have receptors for bliss, all cells have receptors for all of our neurons and all the chemicals that our body produces. And so what she says in this book is that our seeking, it is within our body. It's our body's own ability to create these kind of drugs, are just hormones, basically. So work with our emotions, not just knowing we are feeling anger or sadness, or there are so many emotions. There's an app called The Universe of Emotions. It's made by Dr. Alan Watts, and he has more than 2,000 emotions in there, and it's for us to become more nuanced in our intelligence of emotions. And that's really important because once you start to describe the quality of an emotion, you notice how quickly it's actually already changing. So just because we think we are sad, we end up staying sad a lot longer. Whereas if we could just open up to the fact that maybe sadness is moving into a kind of letting go, a shedding, a transformation, and as you see, it can become any kind of emotion. So mindfulness is really wonderful to tune into what's going on, but not going into it. Whereas when we realize that the emotion has this energetic charge, we can actually harness that energy and move along with it. So it's very empowering. It's very beautiful. I love emotions. So today I'm not particularly talking about any one emotion. I just want you to understand how it works. So you feel an emotion or something happens. Basically, there's something that happens. You can think something or something externally. There's a stimulus that makes you think, and that thought, well, produces an emotion. But it can also be the other way round, where the emotion produces a thought. You feel something, therefore you think. Okay, so it works both ways. It's not by one direction, it's bidirectional. So when something happens to trigger the emotion, okay, and I'm not saying we need to bypass even that, because we need our emotions. Emotions bind us to others, to a situation. That is why sometimes we get stuck on something, because we're very emotional about it. It's meant to create that charge, because that's going to make us create that change that we need to make. So that's what emotion is. It's prompting you, saying, hey, maybe you need to shift. Maybe you need to make a huge adjustment. Maybe you need to change something in your life, leave someone behind, leave something behind. Maybe you need to take the leap. Maybe you need to dare and believe in yourself, whatever that is. So, for example, you can take frustration, or let's put it into a physical activity. What do you call this? Procrastination. When we procrastinate a lot because we're afraid to take that step, or we don't believe in ourselves, we get frustrated with other things because we know we're not actually focusing the energy on what we want to do. So for that, your frustration is a lot of charge. If we turn it back a little bit and get into the anger that it could be, because it's very fiery emotion, and that's what I've written about in my book, is that each set of emotion, there's a whole spectrum, and it's connected to the element. So if you see fire as this elemental emotional charge, you can see it going from very excessive fire, which would be rage, fury, anger. As you move enthusiasm, confidence, self-worth, and then we can go down the spectrum into less fire, which would be lack of interest, lack of lust, and so on and so forth. So if you start to see these elemental properties in your emotions, you can also regulate and use the yoga practices according to Ayurveda to bring your fire back, or to decrease that fire if there's too much, and then to start to channel that energy within the emotion and create something beautiful, or initiate a conversation, or start that project that you wanted to do, or take the leap into doing a new course, or whatever it is that you've been afraid to do. So usually frustration is lack of enough motivation. We're not channeling that anger energy into the right pathway. We're not shifting. So I hope this helps, okay, because I've seen a lot of people asking about or mentioning that they wanted to learn more about anger, but see anger as a fire. See it as something. Seeing I'm talking about fire a lot today, we'll just stick to that one, and next week we'll go into the different elements. Okay, so see your anger as fire. See your shame. When we are ashamed, it's also lack of fire. We have too little fire. We actually want to do things and we don't dare. We think we're not good enough. So often that is the case with lack of fire. There's too many impressions coming from outside, and it just destroys our fire into almost nothing. And then we don't have the belief in ourselves, the confidence, the autonomy, the self-worth to ask what we're worth. Yeah. So this is fire again, and fire is asking you, change that, make your boundaries, know what you need, and ask for it, because no one's going to give it to you. You've got to go out there and get it, and first know what you're worth. So checking in with yourself. Okay, so fire and anger is a brilliant, brilliant energy. Okay, just see your emotions as energy, and emotions want to flow through you. They are always moving and changing, and if you can change with them, that's amazing. You will find a lot of goodness. It'll heal your life, it'll heal your body, because you start to actually allow that to change and move through you. Those hormones can flush through you, and that affects your physiology, how you sleep, how you think, how you feel. It's very powerful stuff. So leave your questions behind. Tell me what you're looking for, and I very much appreciate your feedback. There we go. How do we end this here? Yes, end.